All right, welcome to the second Win Lose Tie podcast.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. And as usual, it's me, Jamma7301 on this endeavor, along with
I'm Prof Bites.
Yeah. You know what's funny? We started this channel back in August, was it? Our first video released?
I think so, yeah.
And
it's a long time ago.
When we first started, I thought I was just going to be a bit part player on this channel. Like, I was just going to
No
be...
way. I knew you weren't going to be.
The way you made it sound, though, it sounded like you were going to record a lot of stuff with a bunch of other people, like Mitch and stuff, more often than not, and then...
No, I told you because that was the original plan,
Yeah.
but, you know, they're lame.
I've been more consistent. Unfortunately for everybody watching these videos.
I don't know, it's fun to have someone to laugh at.
Yes, the butt monkey of every joke.
Yep.
You just like having a player that's clearly worse than you at all times.
Well, no, because you kind of destroyed me in Worms Revolution.
No, you destroyed yourself, otherwise you would have
Shut
won
up.
that game.
I really should have won that game.
Alright, so we're here to look at 2014 in review, sort of not as a whole, but for us personally, because everywhere else is going to be covering the year in general in review. The games that came out, the game of the year, blah 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 blah, studio of the year, all those things. We're just here to talk about what we played this year and, what games we liked. So, you want to take us off here? You want to start?
Sure. I mean, I think I started the year out playing, trying to get through my backlog, and the first game that I played to finish out was Saints Row 3, and then Saints Row 4.
Good choices. I'm actually working through Saints Row 4 myself right now.
They are amazing games, and if you haven't played them, you really, really should. I mean, what other game lets you run around and beat people to death with a giant floppy pink dildo?
If I'm being honest, Saints Row 2 is probably one of my favorite in the series. I might like Saints Row 2 more than I like Saints Row 3.
We tried to record that, it just does not work.
Oh, the PC port is atrocious.
Yeah.
It's absolute shit.
Which is unfortunate.
But when I played it a few years ago on the PS3, it was one of the best games I had played at the time.
Maybe I'll have to get it for the 360 or something.
Because it's a console port it's a really bad console port. It's almost as bad as the Alpha Protocol port, if not a little worse.
No. The Saints Row 2 port's worse. We couldn't get out of the intro area because a boat refused to spawn. And then when it did spawn, the game crashed.
Mm-hmm. Good shit right there.
But Saints Row 3 and 4 are fantastic.
Oh yeah, Saints Row 4.
They're not buggy messes.
Saints Row 4 is a superhero game. Full stop.
Yeah.
It's a superhero game in a Crime City sandbox. It's basically what would happen if Grand Theft Auto stopped taking itself so goddamn seriously.
Which is why I love it. I hate the Grand Theft Auto games because they're way too serious about themselves.
See, I can go back and play up to San Andreas. I can play 3 in San Andreas, but I can't play 4. Because there was at least a sense of, not quite... I don't know. I just felt like there was more self-awareness in those games than in 4, when I played 4. And driving wasn't a pain in my ass.
I like how in 4 you don't have... Or Saints Row 4, you don't have to drive ever.
Oh, no, you don't have to. You don't even need to drive to have the radio because you're in a virtual world.
It's great.
I will say the opening for it was fucking hilarious.
Do we want to end hunger or cure cancer?
I'm talking even before that, like before you even become president, when you're stopping a goddamn nuke to
that was pretty great.
Aerosmith or whatever it was. Don't want to miss a thing. And everyone's just acting like you're all gonna die and nope, fall into the White House.
That intro was great.
I worry. My worry for the series is that what can they do next to top that? And they're going to try to top it, which is what worries me.
Okay, I wanna tell a story about when I was playing Saints Row 4. So, in the first escape sequence, you steal an alien spaceship, spoilers, and Hadaway comes on the radio, and I started bouncing the spaceship up and down in time with the music, and Reed, who I was playing with, wasn't quite sure if I was doing it or if the game was doing it. Because that's how good the Saints Row games are. They have a fantastic sense of humor.
Is that when you were flying with Kinsey and David Keith?
Yeah.
David Keith, the actor, plays himself as your vice president.
Yes, he does.
You get to roll around with motherfucking Goliath from Gargoyles.
It's great.
Or the dude from friggin' Riddick movies. I think the biggest addition to my year in games were the Borderlands series, the first 2 games.
Yes.
You finally drugged me out to play Borderlands 1 and 2.
Yeah, I did. And they're great games, and you know it.
They're alright. They're shooters. They're first-person shooters. Like, that's what they are.
Yeah. Borderlands 2 is my favorite in the series so far.
God. Borderlands 1 is not that great.
It's
okay.
It's okay. But, like, the DLCs were pretty good. And then Borderlands 2 is fantastic, especially the assault on Tiny Tina's assault on Dragon Keep. That is such an amazing DLC.
It brings everything back around.
Yeah. It's literally made me cry because the feels.
The feels. Of course, the Borderlands 1 DLC was better than the base game. They had reviews to fix what went wrong.
That's true. My one problem with Borderlands 2 is that the loot drop was changed, and it was not changed for the better. Loot in Borderlands 2 is really way too random, and generally you get really shitty stuff. But at the same time, your lower level loot, you can't use it for as long as you could in Borderlands 1.
They made the stats like change so frequently or whatever so you need to change your gear more often.
Mm-hmm.
So even a lower level legendary is outclassed like 6 levels later by a common.
It is.
Except for its unique ability. Yeah, they're alright. They're games.
Speaking of Borderlands, though, I started playing the pre-sequel, which is the latest installment in the Borderlands series, and it's alright. I haven't really played much in the past month because it's just alright. It doesn't have the humor Borderlands 2 had so far, and I'm playing Claptrap, which is hilarious.
Oh, good God. And open! Claptrap.
Oh, you hate Claptrap. I might switch to a different character because Claptrap's amusing, but he's kind of annoying at the same time.
Well, no
Especially
shit,
for people playing with you.
Claptrap is annoying. That's his entire shtick.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
That's like 90% of what he does.
I really need to play more of the pre-sequel, but I have other games that seem more compelling immediately.
Like those 40 hours we put into Mercenary Kings.
Oh god, Mercenary Kings. I love that game.
Oh man, we put so much time into it that I managed to do a write-up for it.
And the great thing is we still have more stuff to do. We haven't even finished all the quests.
Yeah. It's a very grindtastic game. Okay, so
it's true.
It's Contra plus Borderlands is the best way I can describe it. That's like its elevator pitch to me. It has gameplay like Contra, except you don't die in one hit. But it has like the same style of run and gunning with a little more exploration and some more modern conventions.
And you can build your own weapons,
yes,
which can lead to crazy, crazy weapons.
That would be the Borderlands influence.
Yes.
Like, I have a gun that shoots rockets that can travel through walls.
Yeah.
And what's a cat gun that shoots shotgun shells that travel in eternity.
And the cat mews whenever you fire, and when you reload, it purrs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mercenary Kings, it's great.
And it's done. The team behind it is the same one that worked on the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game.
Yeah.
So the art, if you like the art style for that side scroller beat 'em up, same art style for this one.
And the game has a very interesting difficulty curve. It's pretty flat, or not flat. It's pretty linear.
and then it spikes
But
up pretty hard towards the end.
yeah, there's a couple of levels where it just spikes
The last
hardcore.
3 or 4 ranks, when you first start to fight the really big bosses,
Yeah.
like once we hit the Violence Kings, I think that's when the spike happened.
Oh man, the Violence Kings. It's a fantastic game if you're really good at figuring out boss patterns.
And
or
if you
you're
can
playing with someone who can figure out boss patterns.
And if you can put up with a lot of enemy reskins, because a bunch of the
Yes.
bosses are reskins.
Most of
because-
the enemies are reskins.
There
too.
are the 3 main kind of bosses you'll fight are troopers, soldiers, or titan. Yep,
So there's-
titans, and
there's
the
the troopers, the titans,
and the jeeps.
the
or what-
tanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they'll vary from being standard, and then go through the 3 different 4 elements: shock, frost, or cryogenic. It's called incendiary and caustic.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be 12 bosses, well, 15 right there, if you count the non-element. And then you've got the 3 different dog bosses. We've got
We've got Mech Puppy, Rainbow Puppy, and oh
Hell-
my god, why are you killing me, Puppy?
yeah. Oh my god, why are you killing me, Puppy is the worst puppy.
Yes, that's why it's oh my god, why are you killing me?
It's got a pattern, it's just a really difficult pattern at times.
Yeah, and it has so much health.
Then again, we never use some of the support items we could be bringing in, like the riot
It's
shield.
true. That is true.
So it's a pretty fun game. It's
Very
a it's a
fun
good
game.
time killer. It's very grindy, so if you need something mindless to do to collect parts, just throw it. Or if you need something mindless to do, just throw it on, collect parts.
Also, you really need to have a controller.
It might help. I don't know. I haven't played it with a controller yet.
I play it with a controller, and
It's better than the keyboard.
way better.
The first time I played it, the keyboard controls were so awkward, and then I just pretty much brute forced learned the keyboard controls.
I will mention any game that I think you should have a controller for.
Saints Row games, probably.
No, I didn't use one at all. Now I'm
What's-
not sure if I should segue this into a game that I think I should have played with a controller, or a game that I also spent way too much time in.
Whatever, it's your call.
Let's go with way too much time,
Way too much time it is.
and I'm probably going to spend more time in it. Hyrule Warriors came out for the Wii U. It's some people thought it'd be like a Dynasty Warriors.
With the Zelda skin. and
It's a Zelda. It would be a Zelda game with some Dynasty Warriors mechanics. But when I first saw it, I knew it was going to be a Dynasty Warriors game with a Zelda skin, and it is exactly that.
and
So if you've played Dynasty Warriors and you have a Wii U and you like Dynasty Warriors, get the game. It is a fantastic game if you know what you're expecting.
I haven't picked it up yet. I was hoping that Nintendo would release a demo for it like they did with Pikmin 3 recently, but no dice.
It's a great game. You should get it. It's very grindy.
Yeah, well, the only Dynasty Warrior game I played was on the Game Boy Advance, so
They recently released some DLC that increased the max level to 150. So now my Link is like level 105 or something.
I saw they released Twilight Princess DLC too.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Right.
I have like 2 DLCs that I haven't really started because I'm still working on the the first adventure map. I have yet to get every single weapon unlocked because I forget her name. The fish chick.
I don't remember. The one from the Zora, right?
Yeah, the Zora chick.
Princess
Rudo. It's Rudo.
There we go. Excuse me.
Yeah. I still don't have her highest level weapon, which I want to get.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of the Wii U, I picked one up this last September and played a lot of Mario Kart 8.
Oh, yes.
And
Mario Kart.
picked up a bunch of games off of not a bunch, but a couple games off the Virtual Console too, like Mega Man Battle Network and recently Legend of Zelda Minish Cap. But Mario Kart 8 and its first DLC, now that was some value right there.
Oh, man, that is such a great DLC.
$12 gets you both packs, and it doubles the content of the. It gives you another like 50%.
It gives you another
Like
two. No, it
with
is
both
four,
DLCs, it's 4 circuits,
four
6
circuits for the
racers,
two DLCs, yeah,
and like 4 or 5 or 6 carts, something like that.
something like that, yeah. I mean, $12 for a $60 game to increase the number of courses by 50%. Plus, you get Link and Drybones Bowser and a couple of other characters.
2 from Animal Crossing, the Villager and Isabella, and Cat Peach and Tanuki Mario.
Which I'm just like, meh.
Plus the different colored Yoshis and Shy Guys.
Yes. Which is cool.
Actually, from the first DLC, my favorite courses are Excite Bike Track and F-Zero course. I think those are my favorite.
I think Mute City is my favorite, actually. And then one of the Legend of Zelda ones.
Isn't there only the one Legend of Zelda one right now?
I thought there was 2. There might only be
I
one.
thought that Chinese temple-looking place was from Super Mario 3D World. I think.
Maybe.
I
For
don't
the
know.
Legend of Zelda map, though, they changed the coins to rupees,
It's such a nice touch.
which is a fantastic touch.
Jumping over the Master Sword inside Hyrule Castle. If
Yeah.
you hit all 3 of the little 0G boosts on the way down. Just a lot.
The game has so many nice touches.
Like getting coins in Mute City, you just go over what you would
Yeah.
heal your cart with in F-Zero. So they pay a lot of attention to detail, and that's one thing I really like about Nintendo's first-party games, and that's why Nintendo's first-party games can carry a system. They don't go for high polygon, ultra realistic. They stylize all their things, and
They
it
go
makes
for
it
good aesthetics as
Yes.
opposed to
good graphics.
Good graphics, yeah.
Because an aesthetic can last a long time. There's a reason why games like Earthbound and Okami and Shadow of the Colossus can look good for a long time, because of that stylized nature of them. Where games like Call of Duty or Battlefield, which were cutting edge, like for Battlefield 2 or whatever, or Crysis, they'll eventually start to get that uncanny valley feeling to them.
I pulled up a video of the Dragon Driftway. That's the one you're thinking of.
Yeah.
That is definitely Mario. They have coins. So I guess I was wrong about that one.
Well, I don't know if you've played Super Mario 3D World, but there's a few stages that use
I have played
pagodas and stuff
3D
like
World,
that.
actually. That's one of the games that actually I forgot to put on my list of stuff that I've played this year.
It's a pretty fun game.
I got 3D World because of a Let's Play, actually. It's pretty fun. I still haven't gone and gotten everything in it,
Right.
but I've beaten the game and gotten most of the stuff.
The reason why we ended up getting a Wii U was because my girlfriend played, like, I was set on getting it for Mario Kart, and she was not convinced about it.
Mhm.
So when I was using the bathroom at a Best Buy or whatever, and I was looking at, while we were looking at the Wii U stuff, I went to go use the bathroom, and she played the demo for Super Mario 3D World. I came back like 3 minutes later, and she's like, I need this now.
So, I got 3D World. I think it was 3D World, and I got a free game from it
Right?
because Nintendo had that offer, and I got Wind Waker, which I still haven't played.
Wasn't that Mario Kart 8 the offer was for?
Oh, it might have been Mario Kart. Yeah.
Yeah, because I got
remember,
Wii Party U from that.
Yeah. I could have gotten Mario World or Pikmin if I didn't have both of them already.
Right.
And more recently, for the Wii U, Smash Brothers. Oh, Smash Brothers, where the GameCube adapter is still selling on the internet for $100.
Jesus. Are there a lot of places sold out?
Everywhere is sold out.
Wow. It's a popular little pickup.
Yeah. I really should play more Smash Brothers, but I'm pretty much just waiting until I can get a not horribly overpriced
Adapter to use GameCube
adapter
controllers.
so I can play with people who want to use GameCube controllers and also play the 8-player.
If
Although
I
it is really nice that you can use your 3DS version.
Yeah, like
It's great.
Speaking of, I just recently got 3DS version of Smash last Friday from my parents.
Mhm.
because they did the whole, well, we don't know what to get you for Christmas, pick some shit out, and that's what I wanted for the time being. And so I've been playing that quite a bit. I've almost finished the challenge board. I don't know if there's any more challenge boards after the first one, but I actually don't mind the default controls. So I can picture myself playing this with my Pro controller or the gamepad even on when the Wii U version comes, or when I get the Wii U version. So I've adapted to that. And let me just say, I love playing as Little Mac.
Little Mac is pretty great.
He's so awful in the air, but most of my game is centered on being on the ground from when I was playing previous versions.
I really like Falco still because I have a very good air game.
Right.
And
Well-
let's be honest, just personally, I prefer the air.
Yeah. Like,
I do.
from Melee forward, I played mostly Link in Melee and Brawl. So I'm used to keeping things on the ground
Mhm.
and dealing with shitty recoveries. So, and then you factor in Little Mac's just outright speed on the ground and his ability to hit like a goddamn truck.
Yeah, plus the charge attack thing.
That you can shoot at any time. Yeah. His
That
KO
is
punch,
ridiculous.
the KO punch
Yeah.
thing. Oh, that's a satisfying move when you can land it. Where everything just zooms in and slows down as he launches that uppercut.
Yeah, it's so satisfying if you hit, and it's hilarious if you whiff it.
Yeah. Let's see here. Speaking of last Friday, well, let's just stick on Nintendo for a minute. I just want to say something for the future because I know there's not a ton of info about it right now, but Splatoon, kind
That
of looking
looks
forward to
amazing.
that. Kind of really want that.
I really want it too.
Nintendo doing a first-person shooter.
Was it first person or was it third person?
It's third person, but Nintendo doing a competitive arena shooter, team-based shooter.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm so excited for it.
and it looks different, you know? It's more about
Mhm.
area control than kills.
Yeah,
And it looks like there might be different layouts because they had like the rolling pin
hmm
and the paint bombs and stuff like that. That's something I always get excited when Nintendo has a new IP.
Oh yeah. Their last new IP was what? Pikmin?
Yep.
That came out on the GameCube.
GameCube launch title, wasn't it?
I think so. It was a great game though.
So, yeah, it was alongside like Luigi's Mansion or whatever.
hmm And one last Nintendo thing. Pokemon.
Yep.
I think that's all I need to say.
Yeah,
Pokemon.
it's more Pokemon with a lot of the updates that came with
I
X and
actually
Y.
really liked the change in the story for Omega Ruby over normal
original.
Ruby. It made more sense.
Well, they had 10 years to fix it.
Yeah. Plenty of time to fix it.
All right, let's get the next big co-op game out of the way. Monaco.
Oh, Monaco.
Top-down, 8-bit heist game with class-based role. Like, each player plays a different role.
I love Monaco. We still need to beat it. That game gets hard very quickly.
Oh,
though.
it has a spike in difficulty about halfway through the first... well, I wouldn't say... Would you call that the first chapter?
Yeah, that's what I'd say. First chapter.
Yeah, the first chapter is about, like, 20 levels, and at about the 10 to 10 level mark, it just starts to get really ridiculous.
Yeah. It's mainly the doctors. Fuck doctors.
Doctors have the ability to use a tranquilizing crossbow, which, when it hits you, it stuns you for a second, keeping you from running away or whatever, and it deals damage.
Mm-hmm.
The stun may be for a half a second or whatever, but it's long enough for them to be able to shoot again after you recover and run like 2 feet. And if other cops
Yeah.
join them in the fight,
You are dead.
Monaco does something really good though for a stealth game. It allows you to re-enter stealth, and you breaking stealth doesn't break stealth for everybody.
Yeah, it's great.
Unlike another game we may talk about, Payday. See, the Payday games.
I didn't even have that on my list. Probably
Well,
should, but
well, we don't
I
have to
didn't
talk
want
about
to.
them. It's what we want to talk about.
Well, let's just talk about it now. So there's Payday 1, which by now you guys have seen a couple of videos of that.
It's pretty basic. It came out a couple years ago. The
It's a
first
pretty
crack.
simple game. It's cheap now. But then there's Payday 2.
They're
Payday
full
2 came out a little over a year ago. And at first it was a spiritual successor of Payday 1. The stealth was improved. The leveling up wasn't as good because it was a huge grind fest. But you got more interesting powers.
Right.
Then back in February, they fucked it all up. They completely changed how stealth worked, and it made stealth not fun anymore. Because originally it was stealth was control the map and make sure that no alarms get set.
I suppose we could call it something besides self. We call that map control if you prefer.
Sure, whatever. But now
Yeah.
it's actual stealth where you have to not be seen. But
It's
the
it's
problem is the game is very random.
it's hard to control
all the
the
guard
guards.
placements are random. All the camera placements are random. And then to top it off, the guard patrol paths are random. You can't just watch them and figure out what their path is.
It's not. Yeah, they could like be walking one way, then suddenly turn right around and look right at you if you're hiding in a corner.
Or they could be staring at a wall for 5 minutes that you need to walk through.
Walk past.
Well, in one of the maps, there's a bookcase that you have to move,
Right.
and they could just be staring at it for 5 minutes or
Right.
longer.
It's a good thing none of the missions are really timed. And it's weird because when you break stealth in that game, if one person gets seen, everybody's fucked. They start getting shot at immediately and hunted down.
And on top of that, in order to have good stealth gear, you have to sacrifice good combat gear.
Which means well, that I can make sense because you need to carry lighter shit so you don't make a lot of noise. But
the
it
fact
means-
that stealth is so binary,
Yeah, it's
It's a
so
huge
easy
problem.
to break. Yeah, if like I'm manning the cameras or whatever, it's less about the way we used to play was a lot of map control, and that got
Mhm.
the Nerf hammer pretty hard, the Nerf stick pretty hard.
it's not that it got the Nerf stick pretty hard. It got removed.
Yeah, they made it harder to control the guards when you could get them separated. It made it harder to. Yeah, just handling the guards is the biggest issue, and with the random nature of the movement, it's a lot harder to even get through the level unbroken.
Yeah.
Without completely overhauling everything we were used to doing.
And then on top of that, Payday 2 is doing ridiculous amounts of DLC that are super expensive for what they are.
$6 for a character.
$6. Is it? I thought it was $5.
$5 for the new Irish
It's like
lady.
$5 for 3 weapons, or there's $5 for a character, or $7 for a single map.
The gauge weapon packs are ridiculous. It's like 2 new weapons and some mask parts for $5.
Yeah.
Like if they bundled all the gauge packs together for $10, yeah, sure, that's a lot better. If they bundled up, the new heists or like if we compare it to Nintendo, their DLC policies have been fair. Individually,
Nintendo's DLC policies have been more than fair.
$8 is still not a terrible price for 2 new circuits, 3 new racers, and like 3 new cards.
$2 for 4 maps in Pikmin 3.
Right?
Or $5 for 10.
Yeah. Nintendo likes to bundle their DLC, which is a fantastic idea. It incentivizes people to buy early, for one, and if people want to space it out when they have more money, it's still not ridiculously priced.
And like Hyrule Warriors, there you can spend $20 for all like 5 or 4 DLCs or whatever.
So that's $5
and that
a
gets
pop.
you. So far, it's gotten me one character, which you had to get a DLC for. The other 3 characters Nintendo gave out for free. It gave me a weapon, and it's given me 2 new adventure maps. And adventure maps are really what you spend your time in.
Aren't
I've
they-
probably spent like 50 hours playing.
Isn't that the
first
big
adventure map?
Isn't that the big game board in one mode
Yeah.
where you like select different zones and you do the
Yeah.
missions? All right. We should hold off this talk for DLC for when we want to do an actual full discussion on DLC.
Sure.
back on top. We were on Monaco until we got off on a
Yes,
tangent.
we were.
Monaco,
Uh,
it's a really fun co-op game. It's really hard single player. Really hard.
Yeah.
But
Although, also, while it's easier co-op, getting too many people makes it harder still.
because if one person fucks something up, then it can.
Yeah. And your weapons are powered through coins, so
Then you have to split the money between more
if you're
people.
splitting the money, then not everyone's going to have as many weapons. Yeah.
I like to run support in that game, like in a lot of games.
Hmm.
Grabbing the bandage that instantly revives people, so I don't have to put their squishy bits back in.
I appreciate
it's-
it when you put my squidgy bits back in.
It's also got a very nice, I kind of want to say film noir theme, and the nice piano, all that going on. The
Also,
soundtrack.
every time I say diamonds, it's from that game.
Yeah, from the redhead.
There's a character who's like, "Oh my god, I killed someone."
I need to make you feel,
I-
make me feel.
You know what
better.
made me feel better? Diamonds. Diamonds.
Let's see. One of the other interesting games I've played this year was Shadowrun Returns, Kickstarter backed project from the guys who actually make Shadowrun, the tabletop game. And I backed it on Kickstarter, got the base game, got the DLC, and the director's cut that came out for the DLC. The director's cut is basically a standalone version of the DLC. The core game is a very linear story. It's a module basically, and the people you hire for your runs are just generic people who don't have any stories. But it's a very good Shadowrun game. It's a very good Shadowrun story. But Dragonfall, you have a set team of people, and you get to choose which ones you want to bring with you, and you can do stories for them specifically to learn more about them and help them out or their families and what have you. It captures the mood very well, and it's one of the things that I love about the Shadowrun universe is the setting. And they're just announced that they're doing another Kickstarter for another Shadowrun Return style thing for Hong Kong, which is another popular setting in the Shadowrun universe, so looking forward to that.
I'd love to play some Shadowrun. Tony.
Yeah.
I even have a Shadowrun character made.
You do. You got anything else before?
Oh, I have plenty of stuff still.
Fire away.
Okay, another game I played early in the year. Batman, Arkham Asylum, City, and Origins.
Batman Arkham everything.
Yeah. Although Arkham Knight is coming out next year, and I'm excited for that. So,
Batmobile.
Batman, Arkham X. You play as Batman.
That's all you need.
That's really all you need to know about it as far as plot. The game controls really well,
Oh yeah.
and you get a bunch of gadgets that are all interesting. I do have one problem with the series, though. Arkham Origins was not nearly as good as Arkham Asylum or City.
Well, it wasn't developed by Rocksteady.
That's exactly the problem. It wasn't developed by the same company. It essentially feels like a mod of Arkham City.
It's the Batman origin story basically,
Yeah.
which is an interesting story concept. But I don't know how well the
There's
game.
a bunch of assassins, but I don't care about any of them. None of them really seemed like a threat.
Yeah.
And then there's the Riddler shows up from time to time, except not really, and he's not really a threat either.
What is Batman without his rogues gallery?
Yeah.
But when you're setting up Batman's origin and he hasn't made a name for himself as this, it's a really weird spot to put yourself in.
It just didn't feel like
He had this
anything was on the
on the line.
going to happen. So
You were stopping a bunch of small fries compared to who he faces later on.
yeah, I mean, eventually the Joker showed up, but spoilers.
Wasn't it like a token show up thingy?
Not really, but he just didn't feel like the Joker. The main draw of Batman games is it should feel like Batman and his enemies, and
It's his rogues gallery is what makes
Arkham
Batman.
Asylum and Arkham City did a very good job of that. Arkham Origins, not so much.
From what I remember, there was no no Joker for the most part, no Two-Face, no
Two-Face didn't show up.
Scarecrow or Penguin
Scarecrow
Killer
and
Croc.
Penguin didn't show up. I think Killer Croc did, but it was really early on, and he wasn't that threatening.
You know,
Like, Slade showed up, and I just remember him from the Teen Titans. I like that show.
Yeah.
Slade was much more threatening then.
it was more threatening in the children's cartoon.
And then there were a bunch of other random characters that I never heard of and didn't care about. I mean, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City had characters that I didn't know, but they felt
Like
interesting.
the Mad Hatter. was
no,
from-
I was thinking specifically of Ra's al Ghul.
Right. What was interesting about Arkham Asylum, and this has been covered by other people, but it was mainly focused on the Joker, for the most
It was.
part, and the others were just ancillary. For Arkham City, it was a little less focused because they split it up a little more.
I mean, so the Joker was there.
But he
And
wasn't.
he was one of the main villains.
But he wasn't the driving force entirely.
No, the driving force was spoilers.
Yeah.
And the Penguin was there. And the most memorable thing about Arkham City was the boss fight with Freeze.
The
It was such a great fight.
Trying to outsmart Mr. Freeze and all that.
You had to outsmart him. It wasn't like every other boss fight where you kept repeating the same thing over and
Yeah.
over. He
learned.
stopped you from doing the same shit.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're clinging to the roofs? Let me break all the little vantage points you have. Oh, you're hiding
Or
in
you
grates.
jumped out of the grate, I'm gonna freeze it closed.
I'm going to freeze all the grates closed. Can't do that to me again.
Exactly. It was great.
Right. I just got one big one left I need to talk about for this year. Since I've had a relatively
Really?
boring year and I've been
Oh
I've been
man,
playing.
I have so many games still.
Yeah, go ahead and fire off another one. I don't have much to
let's
say
see.
about a few more games on this list. I can just rapid fire off the games I've been playing for this year. It's been mainly like Rocksmith towards the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
NBA 2K14, South Park Stick of Truth. I actually really like that one. Played some Pro Force. Portal 2, pretty good game.
Yeah, I made you play through the co-op of that, didn't I?
No, we never did co-op. You keep saying that, but it wasn't.
Oh.
We never did that.
I should make you do that.
So you can solve all the puzzles.
The co-op is great.
right,
Let's see.
fire away.
Guacamelee.
Yep.
It's a very interesting Metroidvania game. You
Yep.
really should play it with a controller. I've been playing a lot of Lego games. If you played a Lego game, you've played them all pretty much, but I still enjoy them.
Guacamelee, luchador-themed Metroidvania.
Yes, that
With
is
a great,
true.
Mexican flair soundtrack. Mexican-Spanish
And
flair
it's-
soundtrack.
it has a pretty good sense of humor.
Yeah.
I played Evoland, which was alright.
Wasn't that like...
boss was a pain in the ass.
Wasn't that kind of the quote-unquote history of video game?
Yeah. It was okay, I guess.
Yeah. Sometimes, I played DLC Quest, and that was a meta-gamey as it
Yeah.
comes.
I kind of want to play that at some point, but
I'm not too
Eh.
keen on on a lot of metagame games.
yeah. Castle Crashers. I played some of that. I played through it a long time ago on the 360. It's another game you really need a controller for.
Yeah, I played it on the PS3.
It's a good port, though, if you have a controller.
Follow-up. Their follow-up game, Battle Block Theater, I bought last Christmas time or this summer or whatever. Also really good. But it's more
haven't played
platformy
it.
and less beaty things up.
That sounds good. Magica. Another game I haven't finished yet, but is very good co-op.
With the very clearly not a
It's
vampire.
much better co-op if Tony doesn't fucking blow up the river under you and make you lose your goddamn machine gun.
If we ever record this, I have a feeling that people are gonna get so frustrated that it's gonna just turn into a one-off.
We're probably gonna record it. Not gonna lie. Fez. If you watch my streams, you've probably seen that, and Tony's probably gonna steal footage from my channel because that's all.
His
up
stream at Prof Bites on YouTube.
there. Yeah, I stream using YouTube. It's weird, I know, but
See, cheap plug. You're
it's
welcome.
great.
You're welcome for
it's
advertisement.
great, drinking the blood of innocence. I played at Tony's request. I tried streaming it. My computer did not want to do it.
It's a weird
It's-
game for
It's a
streaming.
problem with OBS, I think.
You have to do it in windowed mode.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that.
So I think, but you can do a workaround if you use borderless window gaming program that forces a game into borderless window mode, and then you can just use the window stream.
But anyway, was a pretty good game. I didn't bother 100%ing it, but eh. Still on with indie games. Limbo, another good atmospheric game. It's kind of puzzly.
You know, scrolling through Steam, my eyes are drawn to Divinity: Original Sin, and
Yeah,
we
I'll
need to
get
go.
there. I'll get there.
I was going to say we need to
Let
go
me
back
just
to
go
that.
through my
Fine.
random
Yeah.
indie games.
All
I
right.
played Thomas Was Alone, which was kind of weird. Had a pseudo computer science story thing. I liked it. It was a good puzzle game. I don't think it's going to be repeatable, unfortunately. Papers, Please. If you haven't played it or seen it, you really should. It's one of the games that is the most easy. It's the easiest to point to say games are art.
And that fun is not always the defining characteristic of a game,
Yeah.
because you're not playing for the same reason, the same type of fun.
Yeah. Antichamber, which that was a weird game. I couldn't play it at first because it made me motion sick, but I figured out a way around it. It had some very interesting puzzles that I think I cheated on, but I mean I got through them, so there's that. It's kind of like Portal, except you're moving blocks instead of placing portals. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's very surreal. Speedrunners. This is a game that everyone who watches this channel should have seen already. I love this game so much. Tony's terrible at it.
Getting better.
That's true, you are getting better.
That last video, you were like, I think I even took. No, I didn't.
You did win one race.
I took one race, not a
Reed
full
and
one.
another friend of mine that I know online are actually better than you or Mitch, so I might just have them in the next set
Go for it.
and ignore you and Mitch.
That's fine.
Or I could have you because it's fun to have someone who loses horribly.
Maybe I should actually play it with a controller instead of a keyboard.
Maybe. Last indie game, Risk of Rain.
Mm-hmm.
Risk of Rain is a great game. It's kind of like a MOBA because you get powers that
It's a MOBA
Level up.
MOBA powered. You don't really level up the powers, but
get.
it's
and-
different from other roguelites
yeah,
because you actually have more than one ability.
and the game gets harder the longer you play. Not the further you get necessarily, but the longer you play, and it's up to 4-player, I think.
Yep. So it becomes a thing of managing. Do I want to farm for gold and experience, or do I want to and items, or do I want to get the hell through this level as fast as
And
I can?
it brings up the same problem in Monaco of the more players, the more you have to share your stuff.
Yeah, because once you buy an item from a quote-unquote shop, it's like 3 items just placed right next to each other. Nobody can buy from that. So you kind of have
Yeah.
to divvy up who's getting what. 'Cause-
Or if you're a jerk, you can just steal everything and then trash the final boss yourself.
Because gold and XP is shared across all people. It's just
Yeah.
trying to find money, and money doesn't carry over from level to level. It turns into XP at the end of a level.
hmm
But then it becomes a matter of, can I find some items while running around?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
That's all my indie games, at least for now. I still have a good number of things to talk about, but
I've just got the one big game that I've been playing a lot of this year. And
Divinity?
no, we haven't played that much of that. I'm talking about the big
Okay.
old game I play a lot of.
Oh, yeah. Well,
But
we can do that last
yeah,
because...
yeah, that's going to
yeah.
take up a lot of time. But Divinity: Original Sin was another game that was kickstarted, and
Really?
yeah,
I got it from a friend, and we played it a little bit, but he's hard to get a hold of, and
we played it a
doesn't
bit
Skype
too.
much.
We played it some too.
We did. We need
And,
to play that game more. That game is fairly fun.
It's like a top-down isometric view RPG that
Mhm.
places a lot of emphasis on interactions, both
Yeah.
with people and the environment.
And you can even have role playing between the
Characters.
two characters that are around.
So you can have like when you guys are arguing over something, you can actually have your characters argue over something to set up
Like, should we kill these drunk guards or not?
yeah. And if you guys come to an impasse, you'll play like rock paper scissors to determine whose argument wins out, and it's based off one of your stats. If you
Mhm.
have like a higher, for example, diplomacy skill, you need fewer wins to get your way.
Mhm.
And then that'll affect your relationship with the other person. So it kind of tells a little narrative within the gameplay interactions.
Yeah.
And then there's the elements interact with each other. So if someone's standing in a puddle, you fucking electrocute them. If someone's standing in poison gas, shoot fire at it and it'll explode.
It's great.
So it's kind of like Magicka in that sense.
It is. Because there's a lot of interactions you can get. And yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah.
I want to play it more.
It's good fun. Highly recommend it.
Okay, let's see. What else do I have?
Worms Revolution, which naturally we've already discussed in other
Yes.
videos.
I don't know how I feel about that game. I started playing a little bit of the single player, and I think I'm getting better, but
It'll be better once we can construct our teams with more than just soldiers, because then you can
Maybe.
use strategy. Because like you can carry out the big fuckers and have very little knockback and do a lot more damage. Like you don't get knocked back far,
maybe next time we'll just have it so everyone has a team of 4, one of each.
or whatever you want to build.
No, I think keeping it even teams for now is a good idea because
Until-
honestly,
yeah.
people aren't familiar with the game.
Fun fact: the scientist worms, whenever their turn comes up, they heal your entire team for 5,
Yeah.
and turrets they place have more health.
Nice.
And I'm not sure if they deal more damage though. Little scouts do less damage than standard worms, but they are the most mobile. And when they use a blowtorch, no other worm can enter that hole because it's only except other scouts.
Yeah, makes sense.
Then the fat asses are your heavy weapons guys.
They have a lot of health.
Yep, and their dynamite does more damage. Their everything does more damage.
Hmm.
Like a regular baseball bat does like 30, theirs does 40. Their dynamite can do like 75 damage without the gravity damage. So impressive fat asses. Alright, I cut you off there. You were gonna say something else.
Not really.
Huh.
Let's see. Other games. I played BioShock beginning of the year. That game, it's a good game, but man, is it a terrible port. It kept crashing, and I got really frustrated because it crashed after the final run up to the final boss, and oh god. I streamed that, but that's not on my YouTube channel. That's on Twitch still, I think. And I'm not putting it on YouTube. It makes me upset. Other things I've streamed. Spore. I like Spore, but man, is that a terrible game to stream on my computer. Like, it just does not want to work. I jumped through a dozen hoops, and it was still not going. We've played Nidhogg.
Yep.
Nidhogg is a great fencing game where your goal is to die in the mouth of this giant dragon worm thing.
The Needhog.
Yes, that's a really fun game. Another pixel game that I've played a bit of that's kind of weird, Hotline Miami.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's
It's
good.
trippy.
I don't know.
It's more like
I
a
don't know
puzzle
how I feel
game than
about
an
it.
action game.
Yeah, that's true. It is more like a puzzle game than an action game.
Because it's not really, it's
I
just
should play
going
more
and
of that.
reacting. Yeah. It's because if you just go in treating it like an action game, you're going to end up getting wasted most times. So you got to think out a little bit.
We've played some Serious Sam. That game has really bad motion sickness issues, but it's really derpy. It's fun.
It is derpy.
And then one last game that I've streamed and have started playing, Dark Souls.
Drunk Souls.
Yes, Drunk Souls. I actually enjoyed playing Dark Souls drunk, even though I died like a dozen times. I'll probably stream more of the game as I play it, but that'll be for the future. And now I have two categories left for games I want to talk about. So I have some defense games, Defender's Quest, and Orcs Must Die.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Tony have played a lot of Orcs Must Die. That game is really fun. There's an endless mode that's really hard.
Haven't played through it together entirely or that much, but we have played it separately a bunch.
I thought we did play it through.
We've played endless mode once, and we did a couple campaigns.
Maybe it was me and Reed that played a lot of.
Yes, you and Reed
Orcs
have
Must
played a
Die.
lot.
It's a pretty good game.
We played Dungeon Defenders once, and you guys
That's true.
pretty much power leveled me from level 1 to level 75.
Yeah. And then the other turret game I played is Defender's Quest, which I think you've played, Tony.
Yep.
It has a really quirky sense of humor, and the game itself isn't that hard until you get to hard mode, which gets really hard.
Well, I would hope so with that name.
And now the other category. Games that I played that I just did not like.
Oh, this will be fun.
Actually, not necessarily didn't like, but I'm just not gonna go back and play more. So we have Lord of the Rings War in the North first. This is actually a fun game, but the PC port is utter garbage. I had to do this weird workaround to actually be able to play a specific level, and it crashes and just generally glitches out, and it's really frustrating.
Yay!
I enjoy the game because it's kind of like a God of War game, except Lord of the Rings, but it's really glitchy. Speaking of glitchy games, The Witcher. Fuck this game. I hate The Witcher. It's super glitchy. Like, I couldn't get past chapter 1 because at the very end the game glitched out and wouldn't let me progress. And on top of that, the story is so dumb. Like, in the first 15 minutes or something, I got a sex scene because I wasn't a complete asshole. And then on top of that, the controls for the game are awful. It's all around, it's a terrible game. Which is why I'm not even going to try Witcher 2 or 3.
There's this weird
Or
conception around games that they shouldn't tell you the controls because that's seen as hand-holding. But
No, it tells you the controls.
I
But
don't
the
know,
controls don't make sense.
I felt like I didn't know enough information getting into the first fight or whatever. I could be misremembering, but yeah.
And finally, a game that was gifted to me that I never wanted to buy, and I streamed a little bit of, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh
What the
my
fuck,
God.
people?
And
This game is terrible.
they made a second one within like 6 months.
Yeah. The game is terrible. Like, you sit there, and you wait. And maybe some people like Waiting Simulator, or Jump Scare Simulator 2014, but it's not fun.
Too spoopy 5U.
It might be amusing to watch if you enjoy people yelling, but
It's
No.
It's YouTube bait.
exactly, it's
Just like Goat Simulator, it's YouTube bait. Alright. Let's end this on a happy note. At least on me. For me.
Yes.
Game that I have been playing so goddamn much of this year was Doom and its iterations.
yes, Doom.
The
What, was it in the 90s?
94 Doom 1 came
94.
out. Doom 2 in 95.
I actually played Doom on the Sega Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
I love that game.
I play using a source port because I like being able to turn with my mouse. I did turn off mouse aim so I could play it more closer to the original version. But yeah, this year I've played through Doom 1. We even co-opted all 4 chapters of Doom 1. Doom 2 I've played, and then I beat both parts of Final Doom, the Plutonian Experiment and TNT Evolution. In addition, I found through different recommendations, Pirate Doom, which is a complete overhaul. It's like a completely separate Doom experience that somebody
Yeah,
made.
that game looks fun.
It's pretty fun. It's entirely, pirate themed. You have a flintlock pistol instead of the regular pistol. And you can dual wield them once you get the second one or whatever.
Doom is a really aesthetically pleasing game, too. And
It's okay. Here's what I like about Doom, and this I made an entire fucking write up about this game, but Doom works for me because of the auto aim. The auto aim lets you focus on moving really fast and dodging projectiles. So as much as I rail against the hit scanners in the game, they at least die easily enough where it's like you find those assholes and you'll kill them right away. But if you don't find them, they will kill you. They're glass cannons.
yes, they will.
Because few things are more annoying than 3 chain gunners appearing behind you, because they will.
I know what's more annoying.
perforate. Don't
4 chain gunners.
Yeah. I was being a little hyperbolic there. Because I could also say pain elementals in the same room as a revenant, but
Just a room full of pain elementals.
I wonder how many pain elementals it would take for your system to crash.
I don't know. I think there's a hard limit on the number of...
Sprites they'll
Yeah.
allow on screen. For those who don't know, pain elementals are a little flying big ass.
I think there's a limit on how many lost souls, too.
They're a flying big ass brown enemy, and they spit out lost souls, which are little flaming skulls that fly in a straight line. So you get to be a matador when trying to dodge them. And they do this at a fairly regular pace. So if you don't kill them, you'll get overrun. And when they die, they'll explode into like 1 to 3 lost souls.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
So, Doom is great. The enemies are fantastic in the game. They're varied enough where fighting them is actually really fun. Unlike a lot of first-person shooters I've played, fighting the enemies is actually fun in Doom because they're so unique. You've got your basic of basic enemies that aren't hit scanners are the imps, and they just shoot a fireball at a range. And it's slow moving enough where it's easy enough to see and dodge, but if you still get a lot of them, it becomes a bullet hell. Then you spice it up by adding an enemy that's a lot tougher that can shoot a homing fireball, or a flying enemy that can shoot stuff like that at you, or spiders that shoot burst fire energy balls and things like that. It's the enemy variety makes fighting them enjoyable.
Definitely. Of course, people who are watching or listening to this will know that soon.
Yep, we will.
Because Doom is going to be our next big project.
Yep, our next full series playthrough will probably be the different chapters of Doom 1, I'm guessing.
Doom 1, I think.
Yeah.
We might include Doom 2 in there. We're not sure yet.
No.
But definitely Doom 1.
Doom 1. No super shotgun, but...
No super shotgun.
And no... What other weapon isn't in Doom 1? The BFG?
No, it's just the super shotgun.
Okay, couldn't quite remember. Chainsaw? Chainsaw's in Doom 1, yeah. It's in a secret area, in the early level.
It's in a pretty early level, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Doom 1. It's good fun. Personally, TNT is my favorite of the Doom chapters I've played.
We'll probably get there eventually.
Oh, that's going to be so hard.
Oh, man.
You have no idea. Because, like, was it the first level of Plutonia? First level of Plutonia has... I don't want to play Plutonia. It has Revenants. It has a bunch of Mancubi and a couple Cacodemons. I think there's even a Revenant involved, so good times.
Wow. Jeez.
First level. Here's how, like, let me pull up a quick stat here, because this is, I want to talk about, not really talk, but Plutonia is bullshit hard.
I've heard that from you.
Okay, it's the hardest one of them all, and it's not even as well made as the other ones, I don't think. It's the least fun. Okay. In Doom 2, the introduction of the Archvile, the enemy that tries to set you on fire and explode you and revives other enemies, on the hardest difficulty in Doom 2, there is 17 of them. In TNT, there's 38. Plutonia, 99.
Fucking hell.
Yep.
That's so many. Archviles are the worst.
Yep. They are without their oh my god. Cyber demons are a boss in Doom since the first one.
Are they a normal enemy in Plutonia?
23 of them.
Fuck.
Compare that to 5 in Doom, 5 in Doom 2, and 6 in Evolution in TNT.
Fuck.
Oh, they're at least reasonable with spider demons. There's only 4 of them.
Spider demons aren't that bad.
No, they died at 2 BFG shots.
Or if you're in a specific level in Doom 2, you can crush one to death.
Yeah. There is a lot about Plutonia. Like, Plutonia is a nightmare for me because it just is. 90 Hell Knights in Plutonia. Or Barons of Hell. 422 Revenants. It's ridiculous. If you like Doom, but want it to be really fucking hard,
Do you want Dark Souls in Doom?
Play the Plutonia Experiment. Seriously, that's the most recent. Well, it's the most recent full thing I've beaten, and it's just hard as shit. All right. Got anything else you want on that note? Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I've gone through all my games.
All right, awesome. I think this might be the last video of this year for us, depending on when it goes out. And Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays, all that jazz for everyone out there. Hopefully 2015 brings a bunch of new great games that we can play, and maybe we'll do another one of these wrap-up video cast things at that time.
Hopefully. Oh man, I just realized.
What's that?
The first video of Doom's gonna go out on the New Year.
Oh, good God. Awesome. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll eventually get back to a Pokemon race down the line.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do the next race eventually. We don't want to do all of them at once, though.
No.
That'd be ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. So, with that, well, I don't got nothing else to say.
I don't either.
All right,
Hopefully next year we'll have more time for games and better games.
More videos instead of last minute pumping some stuff out.
I don't know. A lot of this has been
Spur of
intentional filler.
Yeah.
So.
Alright, well, we'll see you next time, guys.
Next time.
Yeah, next time. Next video. Sometime.
I already ended my recording.
Well.